Would consider approval of the minutes of the November 13th meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the November 13th board meeting. Is there any conversation, any questions? If not, move for approval.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. First item on the agenda, resolution number 29929, considering board approval of a recommendation for the naming of Broadway Boulevard, 8th through 12th Street, to be designated honorary Tom McDonald Way.
Commissioners, you have before you a memo, and then you also have a copy of a resolution that, as Mr. Mecklenburg mentioned, would place a name of Tom McDonald Honorary Way on that section of the boulevard. Jim Stacy is here today. Jim was at our prior meeting and brought this to the board's consideration, and since that time, we've done a little more research on it, and then the board secretary has drafted this resolution, and it stands before you today for your consideration.
Any questions or discussions from the board?
I think it's a great idea, and we're honored to be part of his legacy here in Kansas City.
Jim, would you like to make any further comments?
Well, at the risk of hurting your ears, I'd like to thank the board for your generous consideration of what I think a lot of people think is a very worthwhile and deserved designation. So just a word of thank you for that, and thanks for all you do.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I would consider a motion for approval of resolution number 29929.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's approved. Resolution number 29930, considering board approval of the 2013 golf services fees.
Yes, Commissioners, you have before you a memo from Doug Schroeder, our Manager of Golf Services, with proposed rates for 2013. We would recommend approval of these fees, and Doug is here if you have any questions.
Doug, would you get up and just comment a little bit on what the proposal is for the record?
This is a resolution to increase some of the rates at the golf courses. They're very small rate increases, and they will help offset the costs associated with the maintaining of the golf courses. And also, we've reconfigured our annual passes to encourage golf to be played at their full rack rate in the weekends. The other increase is the rates for the golf carts. We're getting a new fleet this year, hopefully, and we're going to increase the rates by $1. We ask for your approval.
Jim, when was the last time we increased the rates?
There were significant changes in 2010. Last year, the rates didn't change.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Year before.
Okay.
And it would appear that we are competitive.
We're very competitive.
Okay, good.
But the golf courses are probably the best value in the city.
When do these go into effect?
2013, January 1st.
January 1st.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, great. All right, would accept a proposal for, pardon me, would accept a motion for approval of resolution number 29930.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's approved. Resolution 29931, considering board approval of a contract with M&M Golf Carts LLC to provide golf carts at the 5 municipal golf courses.
Yes, Commissioners, again, we have a memo from Doug Schroeder, Manager of Golf Services, with a recommendation to approve this agreement with M&M Golf Carts. Again, if Doug is here for comments and questions.
The only question I have is how does this compare to last year?
It's last year, well, we're paying $18,020. So it's increased $660 a month for all the golf carts. I wanted to introduce Brett Plymel and from Kipper Sports, and also Matt Roberts from Orion Management. They're here today to be sitting on.
What do they do?
I'm sorry, the general managers of the golf courses. Matt is the vice president of Orion Management. He also is the general manager at Swope Memorial. And Brett is from Kipper Sports, and he's the general manager at Shoal Creek.
Welcome.
And they were very helpful in me establishing the rates for the golf courses this year.
Fantastic. Are there any questions or any further inquiries? If not, I would accept a motion for approval of resolution number 29931.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Motion's carried.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Chair. I will leave it to you at resolution number 5.
You sure you're doing a fantastic job. I apologize for my
Amazed.
tardiness, running from one meeting to the next today. As you all sort of well know, we all have other duties, and just trying my best to fulfill this one. So we are on resolution number 29932.
Correct.
Okay, very good.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a contract amendment with Warner and East Boast Architects. They're the ones that have done our design work over at the Tony Aguirre Community Center. This is a time extension only. Work has started over there now on the renovation of that building, and this would allow the architects to be in place through the construction phase of the project. If you have any questions, Travis is here to answer them.
Are there any questions of Travis regarding this?
Yeah, I have one. I was just curious, why was this not a part of everything beforehand? Why are we putting an extension on this? It seems like this was be something that would have been talked about beforehand.
As far as what the
To have-
contract itself,
Yeah.
this is to extend the contract to also allow for some of the professional services that were an alternate in the contract, and I don't
Okay.
have that memo
Okay.
right here in front of me. But anyway, at no additional fee for the work over at the center. They wanted to extend the contract time out in order to cover the amount of work that was done. The Warren East Bowes obviously is the architect on the project, not the construction firm.
Right.
So,
So you're extending them so they can put in some of these other alternates?
yes.
That are not costing us anything more? Okay, I didn't understand that. Okay. Thank you. That makes sense.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, very good, resolution passes. Resolution number 29933.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a land use on Boulevard approval requirement, or request, excuse me. 21st and Broadway Boulevard. This is an item that we had at the prior board meeting on the 13th of November. And it's the rehab of an old warehouse building at that location on the east side of Broadway Boulevard. There again, we're asking for approval of this, and Travis has the memo in your packet. And again, Travis is here. I know we had a little conversation with pre-board about this also.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Resolution passes.
Aye, I'm sorry.
I listen for everybody.
That's
This is what I tell you.
Missed that.
I'm not seeking unanimity. I'm just simply seeking everybody's voice.
Sorry.
Not a problem, not a problem. Very good. Resolution number 29934.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a board approval request again regarding our boulevard standards. This relates to two signs at the Kaufman Center on Rock Hill Road, one for the Legacy Park Conference Center, and the other one is for the Kaufman Gardens, which are over on the west side of Rock Hill at this point. Again, you have a memo from Travis, and also we passed out earlier, I believe, some copies of the sign at the pre-board. If you have any more questions, Travis is here.
Great. Any questions of Travis regarding this resolution? Thank you, sir. All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, very good, resolution passes. The next one, the approval of gifts and contributions.
Yes, one gift, Commissioner, from the Ward Family Foundation for maintenance at several locations throughout the Parker Boulevard system. Request your approval of acceptance of this gift.
Very good. Any comments, questions?
I just want to commend the Parks Department, or you guys, both of you all, and the whole Parks Department in maintaining this relationship that is just really keeping our crown jewels looking as nice as they do, and also the commendation that the Star gave to the Parks Department at some point this weekend in an editorial talking about how the management and leadership of the Parks Department is one that can be trusted, which I'm glad that the Star pointed that out. So, well done.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to say, I mean, this is another example of our public-private partnerships here, and just a wonderful partnership we have here, and we're grateful for the gift, and I think it shows what we have, 116
Yes.
partnerships
And growing.
and growing. So, anyway, it's wonderful to see.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, they've been very, very generous.
Very good.
And the predominant amount of this, I believe, goes to Loose Park, correct?
Well, it's beyond Loose Park.
It's beyond that.
I'll let Steve give you the details on
That'd be
it.
great.
What it involves is the annual maintenance, and that's at an enhanced level. So, we have additional mowings, we have all the turf management that's included, aerification, overseeding, fertilization, all those things. Involves from Yellow Road from Brush Creek to 39th Street, Tice Park, it involves Loose Park, it involves Ward Parkway from Rockwell Lane Bridge out to the south end of Ward Warnell, south end of Ward Parkway at Warnell. And then in addition to that, this gift also includes the money to resurface that black asphalt, rubberized asphalt trail that's around the perimeter of Loose Park, as well as a significant amount of stonework with the steps, the columns, and all of that in Loose Park. The retaining wall around the statue on the east side by the pavilion. So, yeah, it's a very generous gift.
And I think we need to express specifically our appreciation as a board for the loyalty and the generosity of the Ward family in supporting the Parks and Recreation Department of Kansas City, Missouri.
Is there a motion to accept the gift?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. On to the director's report.
Yes, Commissioners, first item, major construction. Travis, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. There was a request last week to present some information on Hibbs Park, so you'll find that packet in front of you there, some photographs. These were taken yesterday. Apologize for the resolution on those. They didn't come out as clear as I thought they would with that camera phone, but I think you'll see the major points of the park. The first one, obviously, is the signage that's located there toward the northeast corner of the site. The photo, as we go to the right, there is you're at the northeast corner looking south. You can see some of the grills, the memorial benches there, the picnic table and trash receptacle in the background. And you can also see that this park is very well maintained. The grass is always cut there. The two lower pictures just show additional tables and grills, and also give me an idea that in the background of the lower left picture, you can see that's the ball diamond, which we have additional pictures of later here. If you flip that over, now you're over on the northwest corner looking south, so you're looking kind of down into that ball diamond and the concrete bleachers and that sort of thing. That photo to the right on the top, there's a good shot of the concrete bleachers. They're in great shape. You can see the backstops in great shape as well. Still up at that northwest corner looking back to the east. That is a pit bull in the picture, but unfortunately we agreed we agreed to stay our distance from each other, and
And that worked out fine for you, right?
worked out just right.
All right.
The
I thought that was part of our increased sales tax. We put builds in to
the dog
provide
comes
security.
with the park. Yeah, so-
That wasn't part of the budget we, thank you.
As you flip the page and you'll see those two top photos there of the playground equipment, that's at the south end of the park. Playground equipment is in great shape. The surfacing That rubberized surfacing's in good shape. There's some areas that may need to be sealed around the edge of it, but the surface itself is in good shape. There's also a water fountain down there that can be utilized by both the playground and the folks playing ball on that field. And then those two lower shots are looking back across, standing about in the middle on the south side of the park, looking back to the northeast and the north, showing the, picnic tables, trash receptacles, and so forth that you saw in the earlier photos. And the last couple of shots there, standing over at the southeast corner and then looking back at the field. You can see the field's in really good shape, and then looking back toward the north, again, the picnic tables and trash receptacles, grills, that sort of thing. So it's all those, the items that are there in very good shape. So sidewalks are in good shape around that park, so it's a very well-maintained facility.
Do we have a league or a team that plays at this park, in the ball field?
Not to my knowledge.
Nothing organized?
No.
We do have a bitty league, small league, T-ball, that actually plays there in the summer.
Okay.
Other than that league, is it well utilized? Like, do people
Is
use
it
that
programmed,
ball field?
Well, other than the T-ball, we don't program anything there. There are some people that use it, and it may not be consistent with the use that we would want, but there are people that hang out there. But we do program our T-ball leagues there in the summer.
Who's
Do
the
we-
park named for? Who's Hibbs? Is it there?
That, I do not have that
I'm just
information.
curious.
I can provide that to you.
No, really.
I was just curious.
Should I Google it?
Yeah, we did one.
I think, Commissioner, somebody who donated the property to the city,
Yeah,
to Parks and Recreation. Yeah.
that's what it was.
Do we know what, I can't remember her name.
Kennedy.
This can't.
Miss
Miss Kennedy.
Kennedy, what she is advocating for at Hibbs?
Well, I mean, she spoke before regarding, adding some more things to this park, and I think there's two things. One is, that's been her statement. I think, as Travis shows you, there's not a lot more room to do much more here. I will mention one thing that we did do at her request, and see if I can spot it on this plan. If you go to the pictures, that one that has this four right here, on this corner right here, second page, upper left-hand picture. This area right here, there used to be a house on that corner, so we didn't have a complete square piece of land. There was a vacant piece of property there that wasn't very well kept. Steve Abbott took the lead on that and was able to purchase that property at a relatively reasonable price, because it was a pretty rough piece of property. And then he also negotiated an agreement with Neighborhood and Community Services Department to demo that house and put it back into open space. And that's already taken place, and so that was one request at one time. So now you have a nice open corner there, as opposed to an old junky house on the corner. But once you get beyond that, I mean, you can see that between the ball diamond and the playground and the picnic shelters, there's just not a lot of, and the tables and grills, there's not a lot of more room now. The other thing that's happened on this, and of course, as we're all aware, when the tragedy with Precious Doe took place, she was found across the street to the north of 59th Street. And there was a movement afoot throughout the community to take that piece of vacant land and make it into a park.
Tim Dollar.
Yeah, Tim Dollar, the attorney, was involved in that. Al Brooks, at the time, I know he was heading up ad hoc. And it might even been before he was on the council. I don't remember the exact time on that. But anyway, of course, we all know Al Brooks. And in there, right, Tim Dollar and others. And so we went out and looked at the land north of here. And we actually, there was 3 or 4 tracts of land, which were like residential lots that totaled up to about an acre. And we got those from Land Trust. So we actually owned about an acre north of 59th Street. And then we did a little concept for a park in that area, which would be about a 3 or 4 acre park north of 59th Street. We don't own the rest of the land. We own about 1 acre of the 3 or 4 acres. And we could probably buy the other acres. The challenge is, this used to be a landfill area, and we did an environmental assessment on this, and it was a very large amount of money to clean this up. I mean, I think I remember right, it was in the $1 million range or something like that.
That's what I understand from
Because
Steve.
it had a lot of, a tragedy location for the young lady, but a lot of, I mean, just bad material, I'll just call it. You know, like heavy metals and toxins and things like that. So, I mean, to actually own 4 acres, to make it even where you could even develop it, you're talking significant amount of money. And then you still have to clear it and put a park on it. And then the question is, what's the demand for park use? I mean, if we've got a playground here that's minimal use, and we got a ball diamond with minimal use, I mean, you don't need another ball diamond and another playground. I mean, it's just kind of like you've taken care of the needs in the community. That's kind of where this has been. And at one time, Tim Dollar was going to raise the money privately to make all that happen. Well, that hasn't transpired. So, I mean, that's kind of a little bit of the history of it. Now, I know Mrs. Kennedy, doesn't she live right here?
Mm-hmm.
I
She
think
lives right across the street.
Right across the
as I
street.
remember. Would this be in order with some of our additional funds, and we're gonna do some more plantings, to put some kind of a little memorial garden to recognize this?
Well,
and potentially?
the benches that are here, the 2 on the corner, yeah, let's go to the very last page. You have 2 benches. Those 2 benches have precious dough on those. Those benches were donated by Casey Architectural Stone, which is a company up in the northeast area. So they're stone benches. And those benches, there used to be, when this first happened, you might recall, there was a tent put there with a lot of stuffed animals and things of that nature that tend to happen where a tragedy occurs. So after the tent and the stuffed animals went away after a period of time, then this company donated those 2 stone benches, and they have precious dough carved onto the bench. So that's where those 2 benches are.
You know, maybe some plantings or something to decorate that up a little bit, with, help Mrs. Kennedy a little bit, knowing that we're paying some attention to it. There's not a lot that can be done, it doesn't look like, to this park, and it's very comparable to a lot of the other parks that are open with a playground and a ball field and sidewalks and that type of thing. It's very comparable to a lot of the other parks, but maybe some little bit of attention to something like that would be a not terribly expensive, but a good gesture, I don't know.
You know, kind of a landscaping approach.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, comments? Travis, thanks for taking the time.
Appreciate that.
A couple more quick items.
Yes.
Scott Overbay, one of our project managers, will be attending an awards ceremony tomorrow over at the Corps of Engineers offices for our involvement in the Blue River Channel modification project that abutted our Byram's Ford property down there. If you recall, several months ago, we had received an environmental award on that project, and this award will actually be presented to the cadre, the colonel in charge of the Corps of Engineers at the regional office here, by SAVE International. And SAVE International is a premier international society devoted to the advancement and promotion of value methodology. So it's a value engineering firm, a firm that promotes that. So with promoting value engineering and value methodology, it also promotes the sustainability of projects. So that will occur tomorrow. And the other thing I want to point out, I believe most of you were aware about the meeting at Waterworks tonight, Briarcliff Elementary, 6 p.m. There's also a river light rail meeting in the River Market area at 4 p.m. Discussions of light rail from 71 through several of our properties. So we'll be attending that as well. So,
Thanks, Travis.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Thank you.
thank you.
Heidi?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. And now we're right back into the swing of things, and our holiday events are kicking into gear this weekend. I'm handing out a flyer there on the Visit with St. Nicholas, which takes place on Saturday at the Shoal Creek Living History Museum. There's all kinds of fun things going on up there, Christmas in the 19th century, and that's during the afternoon. There's also some sleigh rides going on. So we, of course, do that in partnership with all the great volunteers that we have up there at the Living History Museum, and invite you and anyone to stop in. It's $5 a person, and children under 5 are free. We've started something in the Community Services Division called the Healthy Hours, and you'll see a flyer on that. That began during the month of November and will continue through December, and those are free admission to our fitness centers on Friday afternoons from 4 to 6 p.m. So we've had some good attendance to those and some really good media coverage on it as well. So way to go, Mark Boland. Oh, then, of course, next weekend, because it's getting cold now, we will be having our Santa's Wonderlands, and those take place, as you know, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Gillum Park, Penguin Park, and Longview Tract. And I've heard from a couple of you that you did want to attend with children, and if any of you would like to attend and ride the sleigh with Santa or just show up and be introduced on stage, you can talk for up to 1 minute. Just let me know, and I'll give you all the details. We have, after that, of course, the Breakfast with the Board and our Employee Service Awards, and that is on December the 12th, and that will be taking place at the Westport Roanoke Community Center. Encourage you all to show up for that as well. And that Friday, I believe, it's December the 14th, we will have a booth at the Downtown Council Luncheon, which we've always had for the last 5-6 years. As you may or may not know, it's having to do with bringing an arts campus to the downtown area. So we are kind of capitalizing on the arts theme and have developed these small little calendars to hand out at the event. And these, of course, feature the winners and a couple of the commissioned pieces from our Green Exposures photography contest that we had in 2011. So it's one more great use for these images, way to get them out there. I think this is probably the last time I'm really going to use them heavily. I know we've seen them all a lot, but not necessarily as everybody else. So, and calendars seem to be kind of the name of the game this year. I've also submitted some of our images to 2 different calendar kind of competitions. I guess one, that flyer that I handed around, which says the parks. It starts in the parks, or parks are smart, or yes, that's the NRPA, National Parks and Recreation calendar, and we have the image, which is actually the Luce Park. The family at the Luce Park Fountain that will be featured in that calendar. It's this one. It's our June image.
We love this.
Thank you. I have more. And then also the National League of Cities. I always get it confused with the Civic League, but we're also going to be one of the months. And I'm not even sure what image it is. I gave about 5 of them. But we have...
Councilman Markinson.
Councilman Markinson asked us to respond to that. She is on their board of directors. But of course, there's a lot of cities represented on that, and only 12 got chosen for the calendar, of which we are one. So we're excited about that. I'm excited to see what image they actually chose as well. Following that, on the 15th, we have the Kris Kringle Run. Of course, there's a flyer there with more information. All of the community centers, holiday parties, and then Christmas break activities taking place at the community centers. Skate with Santa on the 22nd at Line Creek Community Center. And I wanted to update you a minute on the RFPs that we have out. I talked a little bit about both of them last meeting. They are up and posted on our website. This is the RFP for the race coordinator position. Yes, and then as well as our branding campaign, which, encompasses website, image campaign, public relations, special events, and just everything, kind of reworking the Parks Department's image. But the race coordinator position deadline for the RFP is December the 4th. So Mark, remember this. We talk about this a lot and can never remember the deadlines, you and I.
It's the 4th?
It's the 4th.
I thought it was the 5th.
It's the 4th. The 5th is when I go in front of the city council committee to talk about the race ordinance.
So it's the 6th, right?
The 5th.
Fifth.
The 5th, the 4th. See, he does this to me.
Who's on first?
Carmen, write this down. Okay, Anyway, the 4th is a deadline for the race coordinator RFP. As you know, we'll be consolidating the permitting process for races and runs and bike rides and walks, anything on the city streets.
Lana will be there.
And yeah, Lana's going to be there too, because thank you, Lana, for putting that all together and working the process through with us as well to make this happen. But we will be changing that ordinance in the next month or so, I guess. Goes through a process, right? And then the deadline for the branding campaign is December the 10th. Also want to mention, as we all know, Steve Lampone is retiring, and we're going to be having a party for him. And that is Monday, December the 17th, from 2 to 6, and that'll take place here. Here, yeah. So I'll be sending out an invitation on that, and so come and try to be happy. And you, try not to be happy.
That terminal grin.
I'd kind of like to see a list, or we heard today in the pre-board meeting about the book that benefits the Skywalk Memorial, and I guess there's the dance book.
The Last Dance.
Maybe there's several books and things that people can buy during the holidays that benefit either us or our partners. I'd kind of like to know what those are, and I think a Facebook post or a blog post about that would be appropriate as well.
Yeah, I know we have a limited supply of books on our fountains. We also had some on the history
The new
of,
fountain book, I believe, is just now coming out.
okay.
The City of Fountains Foundation, we're a part of, in cooperation with the Kansas City Star, has a new book on the City of Fountains.
They would be smart to introduce that before
I believe
Christmas.
That is it's like here, as in, was it last week or next?
Well, I know the deadline to get some images into them was in
You kind of
September.
think you would do some editing on that or something?
Yeah,
So,
assist with
that's a
photography.
good idea. There's that, well, those are 2 books we just talked about.
I'll talk to Ann and see, she kind of holds on to our inventory of what books we have available, but that's a great idea. You can also buy gift certificates for our community centers as gifts, as well as passes for the Springs and the Bay.
In golf.
Are we running any kind of special on the water parks during December?
Well, there's always the reduced fee.
Right,
Before May.
15th.
Yeah, before the beginning of May. So it's not anything more right now, or less. But we do have that going on. So there's all kinds of gifts you guys can buy your family members and friends. Is that it?
I would comment on publicity for the Parks Department. Those of us that attended the 125th anniversary of the Downtown Chambers
City Chambers, yeah.
deal last week, about half of the pictures that were flashed were of Kansas City, Missouri parks. So evidently, the Chamber understands, as do we, just how important parks are to the city of Kansas City, Missouri. And that was great free publicity to 1,700 people.
Yeah, that's great. That's what a Chamber of Commerce should do.
Absolutely right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Heidi. Chief, you have anything for us today?
Thank you for what you all do, and if you have any questions for me, I'll be more than happy to answer. Parks are a safe place in Kansas City, so
Good.
we're trying to keep it that way, so we appreciate it.
Appreciate your help and
Thank you for being here.
for coming
Chief.
by.
I appreciate you being here. Public hearing, ma'am, did you, yes, please, by all means. Welcome.
How's everybody?
Doing well.
My name is Marquita Henry,
Yes.
and I'm president of Foxtown West Neighborhood Association. And I came, Councilman Brooks told me that we were going to get the park decorated. I didn't say anything to you last time I was here because Councilman Brooks had already told me that you all were going to decorate Swope Park. And when I called his office the other day, she said, well, he's talking to McHenry now about it. He told me this summer that the park was going to be decorated, but I don't see any lights up there, so I guess it's not going to be decorated?
That's correct. We had sent a communication to the office about the cost associated with that, to procure all the stuff, and we had not understood there was any money available for that. At least that's my understanding about having the resources, and I think, I can't remember the exact number, Steve, but it was...
Over $100,000, because what we were looking at and what we heard from the community was they weren't talking about a few twinkling lights on a building. What they were looking for was something that would be more elaborate, that you could drive through and take a family and enjoy and be more than a 2-minute experience. So in getting to that, our staff estimated what the cost would be. that came to about 110, Mark?
Something like that, yeah.
Significant amount of money, but that's what's required in order to do something that would be beneficial. We've not heard back, as the director said, we've not heard back from that.
Where does the money come from for all these other parks that you all decorate?
When you say other parts?
You got Gillum Park decorated, you have Longview Lake decorated, you have parks all up north decorated. Where does all that money come from?
We've had those supplies in our inventory for a long time. Those pieces that you see in the park? How do you, yeah, go ahead.
And they're just really,
For one day.
those parks are just decorated for one night, for an event.
Well, you
And the
also,
Longview Lake is a Jackson County park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Gillum Park is just decorated for one night?
Yeah, it's a
And-
moving, the primary focus of those is when Santa shows up on his sleigh, and then we light up the area for that evening, and then it happens on one night up north, and then it moves down to the location at Gillum, and then the third night, which is the same lights, the same display, is out at Longview.
Well, we used to have Swope Park decorated, and it stayed decorated from the time the lights came on, and it stayed decorated up until, like all the others.
What was it? What were the decorations?
You could drive through, and the kids could drive through and see Santa, and
So it was like stationary, not necessarily lights, or, I just don't know, so I'm asking.
it was a display, and you could just drive through and
Right.
see it.
Yeah.
Like they do at Longview
It's like a Longview,
now.
it's on a probably a little smaller scale, but yeah, and it was, I think the last time we did that was at least 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. And of course, most of that lights and equipment they just don't exist today. I mean, there has a
Well,
lot
it's
of
not
shelf life.
because I haven't been asking.
We understand, and you did exactly the right thing, and so we did the cost estimate on it, and priced it out. I think Forrest Decker's staff did that, and then shared it with the council office, because it would be a cost associated, as Steve said, about $110,000.
And they said no?
they didn't respond back to the inquiry.
Well, I'll have to call them so to make sure they don't get my vote. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, anything else that we need to review? Talk about calendar.
Yes, Heidi's covered a few items, and
Yes.
Travis touched on a couple items. The holiday parties for the youth, with all 10 of the community centers are listed through the month of December. And then, of course, the awards banquet Heidi mentioned on the 12th. We're wanting to have a board meeting over at the Black Archives of Mid-America headquarters over there.
Great.
And we were looking at the 11th, or if not the 11th, we're looking at sometime in January. And I know we were kind of looking at a couple different times for that, Carmen. I know the one thing that we wanted to make sure is we're kind of hoping to get that last meeting on TV, of course, because that's where our equipment is here in this office. But we do have that out there as a location we can do one. So it would either be, like I said, come up in December or come up in January. And we also have don't we have a sign to unveil over there too, Mark?
There is a sign to unveil at the same time.
Yeah, right. So that'll be our next location outside of this building. I just need to pick the right date for that. And then, as you can see, we're getting into the holiday season, the latter part of December. And then, of course, then that rolls us into the month of January. One other thing I wanted to mention, I'm not sure how many of you knew Ford Nelson, who passed away recently. Ford's local attorney, pretty involved in community affairs, his association, for example. We knew him through his Friends of the Zoo as a board member and knew him pretty well. But he passed away, and this happens to be from his service that was on November 20th. And so if the minutes could reflect his passing, we'd appreciate it.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.